Hi, everybody. This was our agenda for today. We also did some warm-up problems in order to help us prepare for our quiz tomorrow. These were on literal equations. Step 1, regarding solving for W, and again, highlight the variable we are trying to isolate. So the first step, we actually went this way, so we're kind of going clockwise here. Step 1, subtract 2L from both sides. So the 2L and the negative 2L knock each other out. But then P minus 2L just stays P minus 2L. And then the 2W, just bring on down for the ride. Then the next step, to isolate W, which we should circle, we divide both sides by 2. Now for P minus 2L divided by 2, we can break it up as P over 2 minus 2L over 2, which will equal W. Notice how the negative 2L over 2, the 2 is a common factor in both the numerator and denominator. Therefore, it crosses out. And then our final answer would be P divided by 2 minus L gives us a result of W. Problem 2, we solve for x given the equation a times x plus b times y equals c. Step 1, subtract both sides by negative by. So the positive by and the negative by go bye-bye, haha. And then left with a times x on the left side of the equation equals c minus by. Because we can't do anything because the c along with the negative by are not common denominators. I mean, they don't have common factors, sorry. So now, next step, go up this way. Both sides get divided by a. The a's cancel out, we're left with x. And then the c minus by over a, we're going to leave as is because there's no common factor amongst the three terms, the c minus by and the a term in the denominator. So we're going to leave it as is, no hard method. We stop here. So now we're going to talk about today's lesson. Unit 2, Lesson 9, Applications of Inequalities. You were given the learning targets already. Here is the representation of inequalities. One version is the word format, that's the written expression. Algebraically, it's x, in this case greater than symbol, 3. Graphically, in this case we have an open circle because it's greater than or a less than sign, automatically open circle. Arrow goes to the right. Again, make sure the variable's on the left because then the pointer of the inequality helps us determine if we're going left or right. Interval notation. Now, since this is open circle, we have to have a parenthesis. If it was a closed circle, then it would be the bracket. But since it's open circle, parentheses. So if it's a greater than, and if the arrow is going to the right, you start with the number on the left, which is 3, and then the arrow goes on forever until positive infinity. And again, it's your infinity symbol, and we use parentheses because we'll never touch infinity. Set builder notation is x with your bar, x less than, greater than 3. So that's the only real difference. With the set builder, you just have to say x with your bar, don't forget your braces, and then take what you wrote algebraically and rewrite it to the right of your bar. your such that bar. That's what this bar is called. These are translating phrases. You do have these as well in your notes. Now, the application problems. The first few problems involved base amount plus the rate times frequency. That's our grand total. So for the first problem, the canoe company rents $8 for a canoe plus $3 every hour. And that includes any part of an hour. So if you only used it 5 minutes into an hour, that's it. They're going to charge you the full hour. So we need to know how many hours can we rent the canoe that we don't want to spend more than $25. So we have our H for hours. Our regular original inequality was 8 plus 3H less than or equal to 25. Subtract 8 on both sides. 3 times H less than or equal to 17. We divide both sides by 3. And we wound up with H is equal to, or actually greater than, or less than or equal to, less than or equal to 5.6. Now, what we need to do, since we can't use partial hours, we have to go with rounding down only back to 5 hours. Because if we tried 6 hours, then it turns out we would have been spending more money. So we can't go more than 5 hours. Otherwise, we'd be spending more than $25. Problem 8. Buying a skateboard. Bob started with 27, and he's raking leaves for $15 per yard. He needs at least $72 for the skateboard. So we're going to set y equal to yards. Inequality 27 plus 15y greater than or equal to 72. Remember, at least 72 is the minimum. So now we subtract all sides by 27. And then here we have 15y is greater than or equal to 45. Divide both sides by 15. And then we wind up with y is greater than 3. Problem 3 in your notes. So we had a banana split that cost $5.80 plus 45 cents per topping. Maximum amount of money we could spend was $8.50. So if it's an at most, that means it's a less than or equal to sign. So T is our toppings. Start with $5.80 plus 45 cents per topping. Step 1, we subtract $5.80 from both sides. And then we have 0.45 times T, less than or equal to $2.70. Divide both sides by 45 cents. The result, T is less than or equal to 6 toppings. So 6 toppings was the number of toppings we could spend at most. The next problem, now we started dealing with solving for averages. We need to figure out the last value such that you get your average. So Mo scored an 87 and 90 on the first 2 quizzes. He wants to have a 90 average. So he must score some number such that we take the average. The result is such that his average is 90. So first thing we did was you started with 87 plus 90 plus x. So that's the sum of the 3 quizzes. Divide by 3. But we need to make sure that the average is greater than or equal to 90. Now, since this looks like a fraction, we wrote 90 as 90 over 1, because now we can set up a proportion. Now, one step we should take is right away add up the 87 plus 90. You get your 177, and now we'll do our cross multiplication. So we started with 177 plus x times 1. That's just 177 plus x. This just comes on down for the right. Whereas 3 times 90, that gives us a result of 270. Now we're just down to a one-step inequality. So you would subtract 177 from both sides, and your result is x is greater than or equal to 93. So Mo needed a 93% on the last quiz in order to have a 90% average. Problem 5. Nina earned 87, 84, 93 in the first 3 quizzes. What does she need to get on the 4th quiz to have at least a 90? So we don't know the 4th quiz. Now we're going to set up the average such that we add 87 plus 84 plus 93 plus x. Once we have that sum, we divide by 4. However, we need to find out this last value. So, just like before, rewrite 90 over 1. And now we do our cross multiplication. So 4 times 90 is 360. And what we're going to do, it's going to be greater than or equal to. Now 1 times this whole expression just stays as that expression. So, oops. Now, to make our lives even easier, we could add up these 3 numbers. 87 plus 84 plus 93 gives us a grand total of, it is 254. I'm sorry, I am wrong. It is 264. 7 plus 4 plus 3, 14. Carry the 1, 9. 1 and 8 is 9. Plus 8, 17 plus 9, 264. So 264 plus x is less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to 360. And then the last step, subtract 264 from both sides. The result will be x is greater than or equal to 96. These 4 problems, just wanted to go over with everybody one more time. We already did these in class, so if you didn't get them checked off, basically here's the rundown. The first 2, you're trying to figure out the last score. So you need to add your data values, the ones that are given to you, plus the x, and then you divide by the total number of values, which for the first problem 6, second problem 4, and then in both cases it's at least, so it's greater than or equal to, and then you have the result, which is for the first problem 93, second problem 90. It was similar to the last 2 problems on class notes. do your cross multiplication, and then basically add your values, and then you're just doing a one-step equation. So for problem number 1, result was 95. Problem number 2, result was 96. In this case, x for number 1 was greater than or equal to 95, and for number 2, x was greater than or equal to 96. Regarding our 2 rate problems, problem 3, H was for hours, problem 4, T for toppings. Your setup for number 3, 15 plus $4.50 times H, less than or equal to 42. 2-step process, subtract 15 from both sides, which would have been $4.50 times H, so less than or equal to 27. Divide both sides by $4.50. Result was the H is less than or equal to 6 hours. Similarly, number 4, your base was $9.25 plus 75 cents per topping, 0.75 times T, less than or equal to $13.75. Again, subtract $9.20 on both sides. You would have wound up with 0.75 times T, less than or equal to $4.50. And we divide both sides by 0.75. T is less than or equal to 6. These were the notes for today, October 10th, 2019.